What's up, you guys? SlimX seems symmetry here to bring you guys the next episode of Potential This Format, and yes, I am doing it on spellbooks. The reason being is I think a lot of people forgot that spellbooks are definitely one of the top contenders this format. They simply lost one card. They lost one spellbook of Fate. Now, a lot of people said that was a big loss. That this is like the best card in the deck, and that it can do so many things that having only access to one could have hindered the deck. But another thing a lot of people forget is that this deck is one of the most resilient decks in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! It has the potential to pretty much do anything, and I mean anything. It can recycle this card without a problem. It runs cards like Spellbook of Eternity, and it runs the ultimate grind card, the Grand Spellbook Tower. So for that reason alone, the one Fate, even though it wasn't ideal, it definitely did not hinder the deck as much as people thought. So what I really like about this deck, this format, is that I mean, kind of like last format, it was kind of left unopposed in sense of one of the it's a little bit lower on the tier list because dragons were just so OP that people didn't want to even go against it, and that cards like EEV would completely, just destroy this deck. For turn one, turn two EEV that gets triggered, you pretty much kill like the majority of the deck, and that was one thing that a lot of people didn't like about this deck. However, EEV is at one, and a lot of decks actually aren't main decking it. The only decks I know that can main deck it successfully are Dark World and Evil Swarm. So outside of that, a lot of decks can't do it, and I mean, I don't know how good Dark Worlds will do. I'll have an episode on that coming soon. And Evil Swarm are still going to be relevant because of water and because of people still trying to use dragons with plants. So those will definitely still be some options. But I feel that spellbooks are still just a very solid deck because they literally do everything. They have three Stratos. They have three. They have two main big beaters in Priestess, which pretty much just pops anything at will. It's like a mini Dark Arm Dragon. And of course, we can't forget the World of Prophecy. This card is retarded. This card is like a Judgment Dragon on crack that literally get two books back. Refuel your sources, reveal four, blow up the field. Card's 2900. It's so hard to get around. Not even Blaster can get around it. So that's one thing I'll say is ridiculous about the deck, is that it can revolve around summoning these big beaters. And the monsters that it uses, Temperance and Justice, are just the way you do that. Like you search with Justice and you summon with Temperance. So it's pretty crazy what the deck can do. Not only that, I've always looked at spellbooks as like a puzzle. A really good player that I was watching play spellbooks during what was it, during Worlds or something? Not Worlds, during Nationals, said that look at the spellbook deck as a puzzle, that you're just trying to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, and it does make a lot of sense. Like if you start with a Crescent gets you to your first piece, whether that be secrets or another card, and from there you go on to pretty much perform all the quote unquote spells you need to do with the magicians in order to get stuff done. So it's really, really cool. I like it a lot. This is Fraser's build that he posted on Facebook, just in case people are wondering. This is just probably a standard build that he's working on right now. And what I like about the deck is that, I mean, it's very resilient. It can do so many things. You don't need a big monster count. You basically keep your monster alive the majority of the time. And you just recycle everything. Spellbook of Life plus World of Prophecy is just retarded. Triggers worlds are able to reveal and then destroy the whole field, so that's pretty crazy. Other things, I mean, where else are you getting a deck that just searches, searches, searches? And not only that, you can copy to search again, so you're searching constantly throughout the deck. So the deck takes care of the one problem that most decks have, and that's getting to your cards. You always get to your cards with this deck. Not only that, they have the ultimate grind card, like I mentioned before. The Spellbook Tower is the reason why this deck is one of the best decks in the game. It can grind with any deck in this game for late game plays, and it really can't be matched. Where else are you going to get a card that not only brings back a card from your graveyard, puts it back to the bottom of their deck, and you draw a new card? Normally, like, that would be like, oh, the cards will stuck at the bottom. Well, not really. If you get Spellbook of Secrets off, you're just going to go back into the deck, and you could even search the card you put back to the bottom. That's why the Fate is never gone, unless for some reason it gets removed, but it's rare it'll get removed, and even if it does, you have Spellbook of Eternity. So basically, you have a deck that can pretty much do everything, and that's why I think this deck has a lot of potential this format. I don't know if it's going to be in the top like, three. I'd say it's probably on the lower end, probably in the top maybe 8, top 10 decks of the format. It's definitely not what it was with Spellbook of Judgment, obviously. If Spellbook of Judgment was still here for like whatever dumb reason they wanted to leave that, this would be the best deck ever because Spellbook of Judgment plus everything is just I win. Plus with World of Prophecy, it's just like, well, I definitely win. Not only do I add back cards, blow you up, I add cards at the end phase. It'd be insane. But this deck does do a lot of things. Not only does it let you get basically you get a card to hand, you get cards that get removed. You can remove cards, you can reset cards, reset Blue Boy, and just start doing crazy things. You have like a Monster Reborn. You have a kind of like an Axe of Despair that searches. You have more searching, you have more searching, or copying of Eternity or whatever to get cards back. You have your own built-in Forbidden Lance that either protects you from spell or traps for the whole turn. It's pretty crazy. You don't lose attack or defense. You have a field card that's pretty much like the best field card now that just grinds through everything and just keeps letting you refuel your sources. You pretty much have a never-ending array of resources because of this card. So that's what's really cool about this deck, and I do think it does have a lot of potential in this format. Like certain things, like he decides to run Upstart. Why the hell not? Make the deck 37 cards. You're just gonna get to your cards faster, and it's just really good. Trap lineup. He ran a really streamlined trap lineup of good one-ofs, including the Divine Wrath, which I think is a really cool card this format. And then Reckless Greed. You know, why not? If you're under Reckless, who cares? If you have Tower, you're just gonna draw anyway. So it really never is a problem. Reckless Greed with Prophecy. So this will be really interesting to see what this deck does this format. But I personally think it does have a lot of potential this format. I still think Fire Fist, Mermail may be a little bit better because as good as this deck is, it does need to get rolling, and I mean it does have a lot of options to get rolling, but at the same time, decks like Water, decks like Fire Fist can just explode on turn one, so this deck doesn't really do a lot of exploding unless for some reason World gets resolved and you blow up the field like turn 2 or 3, but I mean outside of that, the deck has a lot of potential. So anyways, in the comments below, if you play Spellbooks, let me know. Do you think this deck has a really good chance, this format, to be one of the top contenders? I sure think it does. I think this format a lot of decks do, and I can see where a deck like this would definitely be one of the main decks people choose to run, and I'm sure you guys will have your reasons in the comment below. So if you like the deck, comment below. One thing I'll say about this deck, the deck's pretty easy to side against. DNA Surgery hurts the deck a lot, but you know, they pack 3 MSTs, they have Decrees, they have whatever they need to, you know, negate DNA Surgery, so don't think you have a 1 card out to it, because sometimes you're just not going to draw it and vice versa. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys say, but yeah, I really like Spellbooks, and I think they have a lot of potential this format, but just in the comments below, let me know what you guys think. Do you think the deck has potential this format? How well do you think it'll do? And do you feel that there's going to be a certain build, kind of like this, that overtakes the format for Prophecy, or do you feel that there are other builds and other cards that need to be tried in the deck? And just let me know in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.